YouTube, here with the prediction video for the Undisputed Super Welterweight title bout rematch between Jermell Charlo and Brian Castano, happening at the Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California. If you're not going to be there live to watch a fight, you can watch it on Showtime. Now, their first fight was in the summer of last year, which ended in a draw, and that calls for a rematch. And yeah, hopefully this time we're going to see who is going to become the Undisputed Super Welterweight champion. And I hope there's no bad judging. I hope, undisputed champion gets crowned. The first fight, I had scored it for Castano. I thought Castano outworked him. He landed the more effective shots. And he had more moments, and he also controlled where the fight was being fought at throughout most of the fight. It was close. It was competitive, but I thought Castano did enough. It was bad judging from their first fight. One of the judges had it 117 to 111 in favor of Charlo. Now, the first fight was at San Antonio, Texas. Texas got a reputation for prior bad fights as far as, the judging and officiating goes. I'm not saying, Charlo being from Texas had anything to do with anything, or it's not even like the state of Texas is the only state where there's been, bad officiating. Bad officiating, bad judging has been a part of the sport ever since its existence. It is what it is. And, hopefully this time, like I said, there's no bad judging, no bad officiating, and there's an actual undisputed champion crown from this fight. And without any further ado, let's get to this preview video. And I'm going to tell y'all who I'm picking to win and why. What Charlo's going to want to do in this fight is not let his foot off the gas pedal, pump out that jab a lot more, keeping that lead hand active, letting his hands go more, period, in this fight. He's going to have to be a lot more consistent in this fight compared to the first fight, because anytime he was inconsistent and gave up space to Castano, that gave Castano room to close the gap between the two and launch his attacks. You heard Charlo's corner in the first fight telling him, keep pumping out that jab. And Charlo just wasn't active enough, gave Castano room to close the gap and to let Castano launch his attacks and outwork him, and also press him back. He's gonna want to have to press Castano back. I think in the first fight he was relying a little too much on his power, and a little too much on timing Castano and countering him. And when he would land those counter punches, he thought that he had enough power in like one pop shots to where he could stop Castano in his tracks, but Castano would be eating him or avoiding him, and then going to work and following up Charlo's attacks with combos of punches. And as far as Castano goes, he's going to want to fight the same fight that he fought. Maybe in the rematch he's going to want to add a little more pressure and be more active if he could. But Castano, like I said, I think he should stick to the same game plan that he had from the first fight for this fight. As far as Charlo goes, he's going to have to add some necessary adjustments, like staying more active, being more consistent, and he's definitely going to want to have the fight being fought in the center of the ring rather than having the fight fought with his back against the ropes. He's not going to want to do that, because that's where Castano would catch him with his best shots and would, pile up points on the judges' scorecards by staying active and throwing flurries of punches. And Charlo, like I said, the best way for him to, keep his back against the ropes is to time Castano, definitely utilize a jab throughout the fight. I think he's definitely the taller fighter, and I think he's got a reach advantage as well. So he's going to want to stick out that jab to keep Castano at bay and stop him from coming in. And when Castano tries to, launch his attacks, regardless of the fact that he might, eat some few jabs and punches along the way, he's going to, want to, smother Castano and clinch when Castano closes that gap and starts to, bring the pressure to him and pivot and, get out the way. And he's going to also want to pivot and utilize his footwork to set up different angles to, land his punches. And that's going to keep Castano at bay and stop Castano from closing that gap. And, I think, the best way to do that is to stay active, be consistent with his attacks, and to keep pumping out that jab. His corner told him in the first fight he's going to want to have to do that and not allow any space and not give Castano any breaks to where, he could capitalize off of that little space that Charlo might give him. He's not going to want to give Castano any room in this fight. And I think Charlo is going to, make the necessary adjustments for this time, for the rematch. And I think he's going to fight a smarter fight than he did in the first fight. That's why I'm picking Charlo to win by unanimous decision. I think he's going to outpoint Castano. And yeah, like I said, the first fight was probably the only fight I would say Charlo, I thought, for real lost, because his only L was versus Tony Harrison a few years back. And that fight, was a robbery. Charlo, I thought, was a clear winner, but he won the second fight with him and Harrison. I thought the second fight between him and Harrison was more competitive and close on the scorecards, at least, than the first fight. But of course, Charlo, like he should, didn't leave it up to the judges' hands. He stopped Harrison in the 12th and final round. I don't see that happening between Charlo and Castano for the second fight. I think Charlo is going to outbox him and pick up a decision win, not a stoppage win. And Castano, like I said, he's going to want to fight the same fight with the same game plan, but add a little more pressure and get more aggressive in their second fight if he could. But I think Charlo, like I said, his adjustments, I think he learned from the first fight, and I think he's going to, add the changes for this time versus Castano. And I think that's going to lead him to winning the second fight with him and Castano. Anyways, y'all let me know what y'all predictions is. Comment if y'all got a video previewing this fight. I'd like to check it out as well if y'all want me to check it out. Yeah, I'll be more than glad to. Anyways, that does it for this video, y'all. Comment, subscribe if you haven't, share, like, all that good stuff. Y'all already know. Be safe, be healthy, and I'm out, y'all. Peace.